Welcome to Beading with Machi Wapakwinyum. I'm your host, Lydia Sturby. Okay, so today we're getting together to make one of these cute little strawberry pins, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways on how to do the back. So in your kit you would have received a baggie with beads, a little heart of wax, so if your thread starts to fray, you'll just rub it across there. And then this is the pattern we're using today, a needle in some felt and a piece of leather for the back. And in the class, I would have given you an option on what kind of back you would like to use, as well as the thread. So we have a couple of options. So this one that I've already done has the simple back. That's kind of like a tack with the rubber stopper. These are the old school pins that you would have seen on a regular metal pin. And then I have one of these that has the safety on the end. So I'm going to show you how to do this one after I kind of give a brief explanation about this guy. Okay, so to get us started, you're going to grab your needle and take it out of your felt, and then you're going to thread it with the black thread. Okay. One of the easiest ways I've found to do this is if you flip your thread over your needle, kind of like a little V shape, and then you're going to wind it around, I don't know, about 5 times or so. Then you're going to take all that and slide it down, and it puts a whole bunch of knots in one spot. And that's what we want to keep it from coming through our felt. Next, you're going to empty your beads onto your little felt squares. And I like to start with the green for this project. And so essentially what we're doing is we're going to just play around with the beads to make them fit the shape of the green. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to come up over here. And a good number of beads is about 4 at a time. You could do 5 or 6, but it just depends on the shape that you're filling. So I'm just going to worry about the stem for right now. I'm going to push them all the way down. And now if I hold those, I'm going to stick my needle through the pattern and the felt. Now if I just were to leave them, they're going to be kind of floppy. So I'm going to do a tack down. So what that means is I'm going to come up on one side of my beads and pull it, and then go back down on the opposite side of those beads. So I'm kind of between beads 2 and 3. That way I've got 2 on the left and 2 on the right. And now I'm going to pull that. Okay. So now I'm going to kind of come in here and fill this spot. So it's best to measure it out before you go back through the felt. If you put on too many and you went down, you could always crack a bead. If you didn't put on enough, you could always take your needle off and pull the thread back through the project, and that would work. And then you would just add your bead and keep going. So there's those 4 beads. I'm going to come up on one side and go down on the other. And I'm tacking it down. Now I'm going to come in and just kind of keep doing my ziggy-zaggy moves here. You'll notice that you've got one, maybe two of a different green. And the reason I do that is that's going to be my spirit bead. It keeps my project from being perfect, because nobody is perfect but the creator. So it is a way to keep us humble. I'm going to go and finish all my zigzaggies of the green, and then I will come back and show you how I do the red. So right here, I've only added 2 little beads to kind of help with the detail of this little zigzag, but I'm going to tack it down right between the 2 beads. And I've got this odd shape that's left. So what I'm actually going to do is just kind of fill it in a little bit awkwardly, but that's okay. We're just getting some green to make our little stem. So if you're in a spot that needs like 6 beads, you can do all 6, but just make sure that you tack down between beads every 2 or 3 every 2 or 3 beads. That way they're not going to be so mobile. Okay, so that's my green. It doesn't look like much right now, but as we're going to start adding in our red, it's going to look better. So now if I was to just pick up a little bit of the felt on the back, pull it, we get this little loop. And if you put your needle through the loop twice, that's going to make a double knot at the base here. And what that's going to do is going to keep tension so that my beads aren't going to go all wonky while I continue on. And you can do that as many times as you want. It's not altogether necessary, but that's also how you would tie off your string if it was getting too short and you needed to add a little bit more. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go our 4 beads at a time, and I'm going to show you a different way to tack down. It's like an infinity loop, or just a loop, I guess, but it's a loop. So I've got my 4, and I'm going to line them up on the edge of my strawberry. You can always use your thumb or other hand to help shape them. But now when I come up between beads 2 and 3, I'm going to pull my needle up, and instead of going to the opposite side and going down, I'm actually going to go out through the holes of bead 3 and 4. And so what that's going to do is it's going to keep those beads tight in a different way. And now that I'm coming out the last bead, I can add more beads on, and then it will just continue my snake, if you will, the shape that I'm making. So if you've got a longer piece, this is definitely the way to go. So I've just added 4 more. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come back up between beads 2 and 3 and out through beads 3 and 4. So I'm still above my project, and I'm working on making my way around this strawberry. I'll come back when that's done. Okay, right here, I'm at the end of my strawberry. And now if I lift up that green, I would have maybe one too many reds to close it off with my 4. So I'm actually going to take off one of my reds. And what I want to do with this guy is I'm actually going to go into a couple of these greens just to connect it all. And then I'm going to go down. And I'm going to go back to these reds and I'm going to do a tack down like we did with the green beads, where I'm up on one side, down on the other. Okay, so that is the edge of my strawberry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way back and forth in this like horseshoe U shape, and periodically you can see that there's darker spots in there. I'm actually going to put one of these like silver lined topaz beads there, kind of as my seeds. And so there's no real rhyme or reason. You can make a pattern, just throw them in wherever. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you'd like to do. So the first row here, I'm going to go 2 red, a gold, and then a red. And I'm going to put those in and do my loop tacking down. If you're more comfortable with the other way to tack down, you can do that too. But the nice thing with the loop tack down is it continues on your line. So it keeps it all together. Once we've filled in all the red, I'll come back and I'll show you how we tighten it up. Okay, so in here, I feel like I have this little crack in there. So I've come up, I've got one bead, and I'm gonna go down, and it's gonna rotate the bead the opposite direction that I've been going, but it's just gonna kind of fill in that space. So I'm gonna do a couple of those and see how I like it. And that's pretty good. Still feel like maybe there's like a spot in these green here, so I'm gonna go tuck a green in there. There you go. So now I've got me a little strawberry pin. What I want to do though is I want to really reinforce the outside. So I'm going to kind of come up here between those two greens. I'm going to grab all of these outside beads, and you'll have to do a few at a time. But what this is going to do is we're going to kind of cinch them closely together, and that will just kind of help it keep its shape and keep it nice and strong. I'm almost around. Okay. Well, I might even add an extra red bead and connect it to this side of greens, just because of the way it's sitting. Now when I go down, I don't need to tack anything down this time because the main string is already tacked. But when I pull on this, it's just going to cinch the whole outside shape of red together. And then I'm going to do that piece where we're going to go do our loop and go through it 2 times to make 2 knots on the back. That way it holds our tension. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is take out these staples. Now, I like to use staples because I know if it doesn't really matter, because I'm going to be ripping this paper off and then I'm going to be cutting the edge to get close to my strawberry. But depending on what kind of material you're using, like I would never use staples in leather. That would not go over well. You would leave big holes in your leather. I'm using a pair of tweezers to get in here. I'm just folding back the felt. I'm just folding back the felt so that I can get the little pieces that I got missed. Now, if you're really good at drawing and you want to draw right onto felt and then just bead right away, the reason I like using a colored pattern is it allows me to know kind of where I want to put what color. And if there's a little bit of a gap in between the beads for whatever reason, then that color on the paper that I've printed is what's going to show through. So like in here, you can see it's still red. So that's why I just care about getting off the outer edge. Okay. My next piece is to grab some scissors, and I'm going to cut really close to my pattern, but not so close that I'm going to start cutting all my threads and undoing all my hard work. So you might need to go back and forth to see where your pattern goes. And yes, I have ended up cutting some of my strings in the past. Is it fixable? Generally, yes. Is it fun? No. The next thing I need to do is measure out my leather. And I want it to match exactly. So I'm just going to lay it on. You could trace this out on whatever your backing is, but with black leather or black anything, it can be very hard to see your pen marks. So I am just going to be super extra careful as I'm cutting it out, so as not to leave a big mess in my edges and have them line up pretty good. Now, if I was to just use this kind of a back, I would flip my strawberry over and just find the center, poke it through, and glue this on and then sew it around. But I'm going to show you how to do one of these other little guys. Okay, so now I've left a big hole in there, but that's okay. So with this, you actually fold it in half, line up kind of where my pieces go, and you want to go just inside where the coil is and just inside where the needle goes. So those are my two little spots that I care about. Now you probably can't see on my camera, but I left a little inlet where my two pieces were. You could mark it with a pen, but again, you're going to get that weird, hard to see. Okay, now we know this to stick out. So the easiest way to do it is backwards. We're going to stick our needle through the bottom because that's where I want the safety piece to end up. Okay, so we got the end through. We're going to slide it up and out the top hole. Now you want that whole piece of the needle to kind of come through and then hook it in. Okay. Now I like to use a little bit of glue here. If it was a bigger pin, I might put a piece of thin plastic, like from the lid of a sour cream container or something, and I would make it just smaller than the inside of my pattern. So I've got a little bit of E6000 glue. You could use almost any kind of glue, but that's one I prefer for beading. It's quite smelly. You can find it at a lot of craft places. And I still had string left, so I just left it. And I'm coming between the two layers. Now what I'll do is I'll come out through my leather. So I'm out the back right now. And now you have the choice. Do you want to outline this top part in green and just the bottom in red? Or do you want to do the whole thing in red? I like doing the whole thing in red because it kind of makes the top piece pop. So I'm going to grab one red, and I'm out the back, so I have to go back to front for this first one. After this first one, you can do whichever way, front to back, back to front. So you'll see I've got this little loop, and I want to go from the bottom edge, the side where there's no beads. You'll see what I mean when I do the second one. You'll grab that. And now when you come back through the bead, it forces it to lay flat like a donut on the edge of the project. So we'll grab another one. I'm going to go back to front, but again, if you want to go front to back, doesn't matter. When I pull it, I'm going to go from the side that has no beads. It's technically the bottom of the bead. You pull it, it's going to go sit next to it. Grab another one. And you don't want to go too far away, otherwise you're going to have a gap between your beads. I'm just going to pick that up and pull tight. Okay, I'm going to continue that all the way around, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've made it all the way around. So here I'm coming out of. This was my first bead. So I'm actually going to take my last bead and connect it to my first bead by going back through the first bead. And now I'm going to tie it off just like I showed you before. So you're going to pick up a little bit of the leather and the string and make your loop, go through it twice and pull. And now because this is like the end, I'm going to do that a second time just to make sure everything is good. And pull. And snip. And I usually like to take a lighter and melt it and push it. And there you go. Now you have your very first pin. Or maybe it's not your first, but that's your strawberry pin. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you had fun. Marcy, miigwech.